Welcome back, everybody. This is Views from Bridge. My name is Cheryl Hilton, and today we are welcoming back the incomparable Brian Mathews, the housing director for the city of Hartford. Welcome back, Brian.
Thank you for having me. I love the introduction. The check is in the mail.
So for many of you, we got a lot of really positive response. His office got, flooded with calls and inquiries after our last session in the winter. So we wanted to bring him back and talk a little bit more about some other topics. So the first topic is the Section 8 to home ownership program. So my questions are, what's the purpose? First of all, one, is this an urban legend or does this actually exist? That's the first one.
So it is not an urban legend. It's not a Bigfoot story. It actually exists. I serve as the executive director for the housing authority that I operate, and we do administer a home ownership program. And so, as most of you may know, the Section 8 voucher program was designed to help low to moderate income individuals afford rents in the city and outside of the city. We also recognize, however, that some people who happen to rent do feel that they want to take advantage of the American dream whenever they're ready. And so this Section 8 to home ownership program is designed to target those renters that feel they're ready to be homeowners. And we would actually use those Section 8 subsidies to pay for PITI, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. So that subsidy would pay a large portion. The renter would pay another portion. And voila, with some down payment assistance and a home of their choice, they are now homeowners. So the program conceptually is a great program. What I would like to add, however, is that in the last several years, we've had 7 to 10 people move from Section 8 rental to Section 8 home ownership. I would have hoped that that number would be larger, but for a variety of different reasons that are unique to different rental households, people are deciding not to move into home ownership. I think maybe they're intimidated by maybe some of the deferred maintenance costs that may come down the line. I think there are a number of people that still maybe have not attended a first-time home buyers course, so they have a lot of questions. They're in the dark about a path forward. And then there are quite a few young people. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but I run into a number of young people that just feel the renting situation and the mobility inherent in that is the option for them. So while we have this program and it does work, we're working hard to boost the number of participants in that particular program.
So that is actually a really interesting point about the mobility aspect. I have a 23-year-old, he's 23 today. And he's just like, whatever, I want to do what I want to do. And I don't want to be tied down. So I kind of get that. And it's a little like, but this is what I do for a living, son. This is what paid your tuition, son.
Right.
But,
Right.
I get it though. I get it because he hears the grumbling. We had to replace the what is it? The central air thing. That's not cheap. So I get that. But it also sounds like there is an unawareness amongst not only the Section 8 or other housing income voucher recipients, but also realtors and real estate professionals. So, and that leads me to my next question. Can any lender participate in this, or does it have to be an approved lender? Does the lender need special training?
No, I think like anything else, any agent that wants to become good or great as it relates to a program will engage in training. It's not necessary. There are no realtor lists for that.
Okay.
Remember, a bank is still providing the first mortgage. A real estate agent is still searching for the house. All those functions remain the same. I think a lot of the onus is on that Section 8 prospective buyer that now has to attend classes. If they're buying a 2 or 3 family, they actually have to attend a 3-hour landlord type of training session as well. But no, there are no lists for that. Imagineers, who happens to administer our Section 8 program every year, holds these training and information sessions for anyone that's interested in purchasing. They also include in some of their mailers out to landlords and to tenants information about this opportunity on becoming homeowners. Now, the landlords may not like that because they're deriving benefit from having received rents. But so we try to meet people where they're at, mailers, information sessions, and the like. So we're doing what we can to get the word out. Sure. I mean, if there are people in the real estate community who want to also spread the word, I can certainly at the end of this call forward information about the Section 8 homeownership program. And I would really appreciate it if your real estate community and all those listening can get the word out, because there are quite a few people that still may want to buy. We just haven't reached them yet.
Oh, absolutely. Please send it. And so that's great that anyone can participate. The process is basically the same. I just want to circle back to the lenders. So any lender can do it, or does it have to be so any lender can do it? So this is another program.
Right. It's just another program and another avenue to make it easier to attain home ownership. So there's no restricted list. There's nothing of the kind.
Oh my goodness. And just for clarity, because realtors can be a little particular, right? So let's
talk about that.
Yes, let's talk about it. I am here for that.
Okay.
So when we're looking at houses, we're looking at, anything that's habitable, correct? So we're looking at, are there any particular price ranges that they have to stick to? Are condos eligible, or is it just literally any home that's going to pass an FHA or VA? And I'm using those because they have more restrictions than conventional inspection. So we're looking for health and safety issues, correct?
Right. So particularly in Hartford, and I would think that this is kind of a national deal. We look at homes 1 through 4 family homes, not just single families, but 2, 3, and 4 families. Here in Hartford, this town was a workforce town, and that's why there's so many multifamilies here. And so our down payment assistance, our Section 8 program, our GAP program, we can target single, 2, 3, and 4 family homes. 4 family homes are rare, but right. So in my experience, banks will finance those. Now, in the 4 family area, that might be a little bit more expensive from an interest rate perspective, maybe more fees, but that's a housing type that we typically see here in Hartford. All your viewers will probably know that anytime there's government funding involved or government subsidy, there's usually always an income limit. Okay, you can't make $1 million and utilize these programs.
Absolutely.
Right, whether it's down payment assistance or GAP, you have to be under a certain income limit per family size. So yes, these programs are income restricted, and at the end of the call, I can send over those income restrictions as well. I try. So that's the thing to remember: income restrictions, 1 through 4 family, and I think the thing that agents are also concerned about, the inspections regime, right? So usually when you're when there's a house buying process, there's a home inspection, there's a home inspection and the appraisal on the conventional side. Everyone knows and has experienced an FHA appraisal that did not go well. And so I think in agents' minds, whenever you're using government funding of some kind, a lot of agents think, well, this is onerous. There are too many steps. There's the home inspection, there's an FHA appraisal, there's a pest inspection. And so I understand that agents or sellers, and by extension, their listing agents, want to get in and out of a transaction. So like water, they're looking for the path of least resistance. What I would say is, well, the government is providing all these different programs to expand the universe of people that are now eligible to buy a home. And I understand the sellers want in and out. What I find is an issue is just what I said. We provide all these programs, but real estate agents are still the tip of the spear. And when listing agents in particular have 5 offers and 4 have FHA mortgages, 1 is a conventional, that owner and that agent is usually going with the conventional financing, probably because the inspections or the agent doesn't understand all the nuance, doesn't want to understand the nuance of government financing. And so a large number of people who are low to mod miss out on owning a home simply because of the financing mechanism that they're using. And that's sad to see, especially when you're in an environment where there's a housing shortage. There's not a lot out there listed for people. And I'm running into that every day. Brian, I'm qualified for down payment assistance to your program. A bank has pre-qualified me. I can't find a home. And when I do, I'm either outbid or the listing agent takes someone with conventional financing. And
Brian, yes.
So I'm not trying to throw anyone under the bus. It's just frustrating as an administrator with the city. We're doing everything we can to increase home ownership. And a lot of people, because of rising prices, rising interest rate and competition, just aren't realizing that dream. Mm-hmm. So that's tough. And all we can do is create more supply. But in Hartford in particular, when you're 17 square miles, 18 square miles, large, there's not a lot of room for new home ownership opportunities. Although I think in the next 2 or 3 years, we're going to bring maybe 40, 50 opportunities online. We're going to take empty lots. We're going to build single and 2 family homes. We're working with community organizations, development corporations that are in the home ownership space. And we're going to try to add to our supply. But it's and your viewers know, it's tough sledding out there.
It really is. I have a client, FHA, and I've written 25 contracts for her. She's FHA, and it is so discouraging. And there's nothing I can do. And she's getting discouraged. And I'm like, just hang on. At some point, someone will take these contracts. I promise you. Maybe not today, but at some point.
Right.
And that leads me to the GAP program that you mentioned a few minutes ago.
Sure.
So what is that? How does it work? What's it for?
So I think when we talk about home ownership, particularly in Hartford, where we have a low home ownership rate, it's all hands on deck. Anything that you can bring to bear to increase the rate, we're going to try to do it. I won't get into the rehab of existing home ownership for this segment, but real estate agents working with sellers of homes where those homes need work can refer those sellers to our program. In a lot of cases, we can conduct the deferred maintenance necessary to bring a home up to a saleable or sellable condition, right? So there's that angle. We can talk about that a little bit later, but the GAP program. So this is one of my favorite programs here at the city because it checks off a number of different boxes. So let's pretend you have an empty lot, okay? It's not collecting any taxes, it's littered, nothing going on there, but it's a buildable lot. You can build a single or 2 family. So a developer comes along and says, hey, city, I want to build a 2-family home here. And I would say, knock yourself out. We need more of it. Only issue is, let's say, to use nice round numbers for the viewership, that it costs $300,000 to build. But we know through maybe CMAs or some other, methodology that it'll only sell for 250,000. So there's a gap of 50 grand. So within that 300,000, we talked about total development costs, materials, labor, a modest profit. That's all wrapped up in there. And so when they sell it for 250, they're underwater, right? We provide the $50,000 in gap money to make that developer whole so they can sell it to an owner occupant on the open market. And so you have an empty lot. You're building a 2-family home ownership. It is now on the tax rolls, right? We're selling to a low to moderate income homeowner. In the case of a 2-family, you're now creating a rental opportunity for someone. So that's why I really love the program, because it checks all these different boxes. And the program's not just restricted to an empty lot. We can take a dilapidated 2 or 3 family, and the contractor in the same way. Wow, this is a gut rehab. It's going to take $300,000, but my realtor says I can only sell it for $250,000. Well, same principle applies. They fix up the home, they sell the home, they receive $250,000 in sales proceeds at the closing. They receive my 50 grand at closing, and now they're made whole. And now we look for another lot or a dilapidated property, and we rinse and we repeat. And in that way, you're creating new home ownership opportunity, right? So either something's blighted and offline, we're bringing it back, or something doesn't exist. It's an empty lot, and we're doing ground up construction and creating opportunities. So we just received about $300,000 in gap money. It's a modest amount. I'm expecting more in the next 6 to 7 months. And we're going to target local minority developers and contractors that have the wherewithal to build these homes, to hire our subs, and to sell to low to moderate income individuals. And so in that small way, we can add to the home ownership count.
That's phenomenal. That you just blew my mind, because
I think so.
Because a lot of builders that I've spoken to, like smaller builders, not huge corporations, one of the things that they are concerned about is exactly what you talked about. It's like, well, it's going to cost me this much. I'm going to be underwater. Why would I do it? But now if you can make them whole, that is, wow. That's amazing.
And there's so many, I think so too. And there's so many like direct and ancillary benefits. I mean, we think of housing, but that contractor, he's putting people to work, and they live in our communities. So they're earning $1, and that dollar is being recycled in our local economy, these multiplier effects, right? So that's good for any local economy. So the more of these transactions we can do, the more we can help, raise a lot of different ships and help a lot of different households through this home ownership activity.
I always say real estate, we're not selling houses, we're building communities.
Yes.
And you have to look at it like that. You are building a community, and everyone deserves a healthy community, right? So
Agreed.
This is so exciting. I
agree. But to move off the gap subject again and go back to rehab, I'm thinking about the housing stock that we have here, and we're in New England. It's aged housing stock. There's lead, there's deferred maintenance. And so a lot of those homes wouldn't pass an FHA appraisal.
True.
Maybe conventional. But again, we have to use all the tools at our disposal, 2, 3, 4-pronged attacks. And so I always think it's a good idea, and I've been pressing this more, when you, for instance, will go out and talk to an owner and you look at the house and go, woo, there's some areas of this house that are pretty rough, and the FHA appraisal is going to have a field day. Well, again, those would-be sellers can come to our program, particularly 2 and 3 families. And if they're qualified, we can get that roof done. We can get those handrails done, smoke detectors, a number of different deferred maintenance issues. Okay. And now, especially if the owner doesn't have the money, we offer deferred loans, loans with no monthly payment, no interest rate. The loans are due and payable when the house sells. That's a fantastic deal. And
Absolutely.
so if a seller can do that, get the house up to snuff, now when they're ready to sell, now it'll obviously pass conventional, it'll pass FHA, it'll pass. And so again, the universe of buyers and opportunities and options open.
This is, the key to everything is education and awareness, which is why these segments are so very important. Like, you just dropped a lot of knowledge here, and it's going to take me a moment to process it all, but I am so thankful that you did, because I learned a few things. And especially those of us in the real estate profession, we should be learning something new on a regular basis, right? So for me, I knew a little bit, but I didn't know all of this, and this is exciting, and it helps to sell Hartford.
It does.
Really helps to sell Hartford.
It does. And I also want to mention, and again, my job is to sell Hartford. I was raised here. I was born here, raised here. I love this city. I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever leave. I do need to see some of the world. I'm going to work on that. But for a lot of real estate agents that are maybe listening to this, serve not just Hartford, but the greater Hartford area. Mm-hmm. And you may have heard that CHFA, in conjunction with other lenders, have created a down payment assistance program through CHFA.
Yes.
And so outside of Hartford, you can receive up to $50,000 as down payment. In Hartford, I think it's a lower amount, $25,000. CHFA set that up based on sales prices, what they see, some empirical data. So in addition to our down payment assistance program, the state also has one that buyers can take advantage of. And again, there are income limits for that program as well. So again, whenever you're dealing with government money of any kind, of municipal, state, or federal level, there's usually income limits and thresholds associated with that.
I love this. I love this. So that wraps up our time today. Brian, thank you so much for all of this information, for making yourself available to us. We know how busy you are, so we are so appreciative of your time and, frankly, your talent, because your job is not easy. Our job's hard, but your job is not easy either. So we really, really appreciate it. And we would hope that you would come back again, maybe in the fall.
I will. It'd be my pleasure. We can talk some more.
Awesome.
Great.
All right. So thank you all for watching. And my name is Cheryl Hilton, and this has been Views from Bridge. Thank you.